I think transparency is a big part of it. Um, I only I was only raised or reared by my mom till I was 6, and her addiction did not allow her to raise her children. She was sick, and so I grew up with grandmas times two, well times four if you add in great grandmothers and a whole bunch of aunts because my dad has a whole bunch of sisters. I'm very transparent with my daughter knows my life story and she's only 10. Like, and I don't tell her to, because I know some people, will say, well, this is what happened to me and this is how lucky you are. I don't tell her that for that purpose, but I'm very transparent by allowing her to know that I'm learning how to be a mom. And I'm gonna be learning probably for the rest of my life and your life. Like I don't know their days. I don't know what I'm doing because I don't know what it's like. I never had that relationship with my own mom, you know. And Cannon talked about having grace, and I learned grace as I grew up for both of my parents. Like they were kids when they had me and my brother. My grandmother was a girl when she had my mom. So you got children raising kids, and it's like no, there are no adults to guide and kind of guide that boat and ship. So that's one. I think too, um, teaching teaching things not when something bad is going on. Like I have these random conversations with my daughter about certain things she need to know at a certain age, and what I forget to tell her, I put it in a journal. I've been writing in a journal off and on since I knew I was pregnant with her from like month 3. And my plan is to give it to her when she goes off to college or when she becomes a full-fledged adult. And I'm going to say, okay, here, read this, because if I screwed up in some areas, here's some notes that I forgot to share with you. Like, I'm learning, how to be a mom. And I think sometimes parents think they're supposed to know and that the kids should have the idea that, oh, you're supposed to know how to do X, Y, and Z. And we're learning this together, you know. So I think that's one way you nurture a healthy relationship is just being transparent and honest about, you know, what you know and what you don't know, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
I think spending time is important. A lot of times, I've had opportunities to work more or, to do different things. And I'm just in a place in my life right now where I don't want to miss ages 10 through 18 for her. I don't want to miss it because I know what it's like not to have that mother daughter relationship. And I just want to take full advantage of this time in her life right now because it's a short window. The teenage, young adult years and the adult years are way longer than the little kid, years. And I'm just taking full advantage of it all, now. So, I
Okay.
think transparency is important and honesty.
Okay, I like that idea because I know that sometimes children have a hard time receiving from their moms because they
Hmm.
think that their moms are like positioning themselves as being perfect.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think when moms let their kids know, okay, I made this mistake. Maybe don't say
Hmm.
everything, but I made this mistake.
Yeah.
I'm human. I grew from it. It might
Hmm.
help the relationship. What do you all think about that? What do you think?
Hmm.
Or could it backfire?
It might backfire. I'm just, I
Yeah.
mean, I just don't want to set myself up and set her up to think that, okay, my mom had it all together. Because right now she's 10. She loved me. The hugs and the kisses are here. She in that kind of still, she's not 4 years old anymore, but she's not 16 yet.
Right.
She's in that phase where, mom, she still want to dress like me. She still want to write like me.
Oh,
I know, I know when that phase is over, that's why I'm trying to suck it all in now.
yes.
I'm hopeful that a lot of it won't go away, but listening to Sharice and you know, one day she's gonna grow up, she's becoming her own woman. And
Hmm.
so, that's the part I want to learn now is how do I communicate to her? when she gets to that age, that I'm not only your mom, but I'm telling you things because I'm a woman too, and I've experienced, certain things that, I didn't have guidance in, so I want to guide you in. And guidance versus trying to take total control. Because we just want our children to do well. I tell people all the time, I just want my daughter to be better than me. I do. And people say, oh, well, you're a great person. It ain't got nothing to do with just me. I just want her to be greater because I feel like every generation needs to grow and evolve in a way that we didn't evolve. And the generation after them and after them. So I just, my goal is to, I'm getting emotional talking about it now. I just want to be better than me because I know what it's like not to have guidance. I know what it's like to have nurturing and people make sure you have what you need on a day-to-day basis. But like somebody to confide into, somebody who's not going to judge you for having certain thoughts and beliefs about certain situations. I never had that. So when I see, I'm thinking of a friend of mine, hey Dashe, and her mom, they have like a great relationship because her and her mom, they share. And I remember going off to college and seeing a lot of my friends have those dynamics with their moms when they had actual conversations. I couldn't do that because my mom was not around. So I'm trying to set myself up in a place where my daughter can actually come and say, well, mom, what do you think about this? Or mom, hey, this happened. What do you think about this? And I don't want to shun her or judge her or try to turn it into a teachable moment. I just want to hear her.
Okay.
So I think,
but my question, so I'm asking, so in this transparency, is there a limit? Now, I'm asking because I know sometimes children will say, well, you did it when you were my age. Well, didn't you, So how do you navigate that? What do you do about that? Maybe there's some moms who are listening right now and they want their daughters to feel like they can come to them and talk to them, but they also don't want their daughters to say, oh, well, mom, you did this. You kissed that boy when you was 12, or you snuck out the house, or you didn't get straight A's. So why, why can't I do it?
You say, but I didn't get caught.
Well, from what I see, I feel like a lot of mothers, I think they make the mistake of saying that their daughters are making the same mistake that they made when it's really not a mistake. It's just life. Like a lot of women, when things didn't go right with what they did, they deem it as a mistake or they did something wrong. When no, it's just life. You kissed a boy at 14, you got pregnant at 14 or 15. That's life. It wasn't a mistake. A lot of people got pregnant at 15 and 14. The thing is this: mothers just need to understand that the kids will do things that they can't control, and that's when you're there to pick up the pieces and still guide them. It's not a mistake that they had a baby. Like I mean, it's unfortunate that they had it early, but life goes on, and they can still be a great mother, still raise a great child. So I don't see it as a mistake, and I think a lot of mothers say, like, "Oh, I don't want you to make the same mistake as I made." Well, the mistake that you made was me. And if you're a great mother to me and you think I'm a great daughter, how is that a mistake? You had a child and you took care of your responsibility. That's not a mistake to me. And I'm just saying.
But there are some people who would say, okay, well, we shouldn't call it a mistake, right? There are some people who are like, well, no, children are not a mistake. But let's say can we agree that it's not the best choice? If you're 14, you're not financially secure, you don't want babies raising babies.
It's definitely not the best choice. It's definitely not the best choice. It's not the best choice, but at the same time, it's something you did it. I mean, you did it, and life goes on. Now you have to, my grandmother had babies at 14. A lot of people had babies at 14. It wasn't the best choice, and a lot of stuff that we do now is not even the best choice. Even as adults, as 30-year-olds, is not the best choice. But guess what? We still have to deal with it, and unfortunately, a lot of us have support systems that help us deal with it. And as a mother, I think if your child does do some of the things that you did as a youth, at least you're there to help her with those emotions after they done it, and guide her along the way to make it a better process for her, and not make her feel the way you felt when you did it. Because I know a lot of women, they felt horrible when they made the mistake. Their mother made them feel terrible, you know, and pushed them out the house or made them do things to themselves because they just felt like they were just so horrible, you know. And I think now, especially with a lot of the knowledge that we have on mental health, I think a lot of women can like talk to their kids and guide them along the way when they do things at an early age that they, you know, that's not a good decision, you know. I
Okay.
think it's ways to bounce back and be stronger, you know. And
Okay.
there's a lot of support systems out here, and there's a lot of things that young kids have that they can, you know, help, especially if you got a mother, grandmother, aunties, like, you know. So I think it's just how you communicate with them after they make the decisions that you made as a youth, and how you
Yeah.
guide them after that, you know. And that's
Yeah.
how you build the relationship stronger instead of pushing them away. Also, I think.
And you can
Yeah.
help them avoid certain mistakes by making sure that they know that you're not that you're approachable, that you can talk, that they can talk to you without the judgment. You know, some
Yeah, I was
kids
gonna
might
also
come to
say,
you and say, you know what, somebody's asking me to do this, or I was thinking about this. They may actually talk to you, and you can maybe help them in making a better decision than they would make
Mm-hmm.
just kind of like on their own. Do you guys
I
agree with that?
Uh,
well, I think that parents in general just need to do a better job trusting in their parenting,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
basically you only thing you can do is instill whatever you're going to instill in your kids, lead by
Yep.
example, which is the
Trust
most
what you put
important
in your
piece,
children.
right? You
Mm-hmm.
have got to lead by example because they're going to do what you do, period.
Yep.
We all do what our parents, we all do. You know, as much as we be like, I'm not gonna be like this and I'm not gonna do that. Nah, we look up, we be like,
eh,
I'm my mama, no. Like it's just how it is, you
exactly.
know.
And I think it's more productive to answer your question, Ashley. I think it's more productive to tell them about the things that you went through and the choices you made in the past, because you give them more perspective and more choices and more a better way of looking at things. Like, okay, you did it, so how did you respond to that? Okay, like what happened after that? And they can better know what to expect than just being caught off guard, than to just not saying anything and acting like it's just not supposed to happen, and then they go do it anyways, and then they don't even want to talk to you about it because you already made it seem like I told you don't do that, and you went and did it anyways, and so now look at you like sometimes they don't want to hear that. I told you so, or you know,
Mhm.
or they might feel like that's what they're going to get from you. So I think it's more productive. It's probably a lot of hard conversations to have, and it's tough to even be vulnerable to your kids and be like, yeah, I did that dumb stuff. Like, cause like you said, as a parent, you don't ever want to make it seem like you just out that bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah,
Okay.
I did crack.
But
So,
that's why but
like,
that's
man,
but that's why I
like,
was gonna say that I think that the biggest that your biggest defense against all of that is, like I say, the example that you're setting for your kids, because your kids are going to respond to the environments that they're in. Like we all did it growing up, like a lot of the choices and decisions